For 20 years, the Council for Court Excellence has been an independent resource bringing diverse voices together to bring about reform and greater responsiveness by the justice system to the needs of the community.
The system here in the District of Columbia, there are a number of issues and problems that need to be addressed, and the Council has done an excellent job at really taking an in-depth look at the kinds of problems that we have and coming up with solid recommendations for improvement.
They have achieved a reputation of being fair, impartial, and have great credibility.
When the council looks at something, it does so with seriousness, with integrity, and with a view to improving the system overall.
And we think that because of the independence we have and our willingness to point a finger where it has to be done, that we're an essential part of improving that system.
We're not controlled by or owned by the courts or the bar or the business community. We are an independent voice for reform in our community and for supporting the courts.
To improve the administration of justice, the Council focuses on identifying and promoting court reforms, improving public access to justice, and increasing public understanding and support for our justice system. The Council was founded in 1982, dedicated to help local and federal courts with needed reforms while facilitating public participation.
It came out of the experience, basically, of Charles Horsky, who had been a leader in the legal community for many years and was President Johnson's advisor on national capital affairs. He was an extraordinary person. He felt that the citizens needed more input into the administration of justice.
We need an agency that stands apart and in effect represents those who are impacted most by what the courts do, and that's the public. I mean, where is their spokesman?
The judiciary thinks they have a real understanding of what's happening. Frequently, they don't have a clue. And equally frequently, the civic community doesn't have a clue. And so by bringing all of our voices together, we have a better chance of sort of, in fact, communicating and advancing the administration of justice.
They're very good at reaching out and getting a broad spectrum of views, which adds to the credibility of the positions.
Well, I think certainly the diversity of the council itself brings some very interesting perspectives to bear on all of the issues that they're seeking to tackle, and I think we really benefit from their multidisciplinary views that they bring to the table.
We're coming together as one and unifying our ideas to bring about prospective projects, and I think it's great.
The Council for Court Excellence has a diversity about it that makes for fertile thinking and creative approaches to problems that face the justice system.
Among its many accomplishments is its reform of the probate system in the district.
The courts impact the entire community. One of the areas that you don't appreciate if you live in the city until you die or one of your loved ones do is the work we've done in probate reform. We've simplified, we've reduced the cost of handling decedents' estates in the community in the District of Columbia, and everyone benefits by that.
We simplified the procedure, and it worked. So it was good for everyone concerned. The courts were able to expedite their cases more easily, and the people were able to go to court and get the process executed without a great deal of red tape.
The council is perhaps best known for its reforms of jury service.
The one-day, one-trial system that we fostered and that the superior courts, unfortunately not the federal courts, but the superior courts have adopted, have been a godsend to everybody who's had to do jury duty. I mean, it's a limited time, you know what you're facing, and so it's been well received by everybody, including the court system.
And I used to have to go and sit 2 weeks to do jury duty, and I was working at the time. And I had to go to work early in the morning, get my work carried down to the courthouse, sit there all day, waiting to be called, sometime never to be called. So when the Council for Court Excellence passed the 1 day, 1 trial rule, that was terrific. I said, well, great, we can do other good things.
Rather than having to sit around a courtroom for weeks on end, we're able to take that issue, fight it through the courts. The courts initially resisted it, got it changed to where the citizens now, for Superior Court, petit juries only have 1 day, 1 trial. We're trying to do a similar thing for the grand juries. Right now in the federal court, you get subpoenaed for a grand jury, you're stuck there for 18 months. Well, I don't know about you, but 18 months out of my life is not something I would look very much forward to.
Obviously, we've always done a lot of work on jury issues, whether it's 1 day, 1 trial, how can we improve the petty jury system, how can we improve the grand jury system. I don't know if there's any other juries out there for us to work on, but if there is, we probably will.
Our justice system is predicated upon the notion of being judged by your peers, and when you have people running away from it or acting like it isn't important and that kind of thing, I mean, it really can't function effectively or to its maximum potential.
To foster better understanding of jury service and to help citizens become better informed about their courts, laws, and legal procedure, the Council has produced scores of publications, public forums, and educational videotapes.
Richard Cohen, a high school senior.
This video is being used nationally by courts, schools, libraries, and civic organizations.
Television when he heard a gunshot.
School programs are part of the Council's educational outreach to youth.
Too many children see the law when it's too late. You're involved in it from a bad point of view. We need to get more of them in that personal setting where they could touch the law.
We have taken pragmatic steps over the last 18, 19 years to try to empower the community to access the administration of justice.
The Council recently held a forum to discuss future priorities. It was attended by lawyers, judges, educators, business leaders, community activists, and the Chief of Police.
In a day in May when people have a million things to do before they get away for the summer, this group has been able to get about 50 of them, city leaders of all stripes, together to talk about issues that are really important, that are really serious for the city.
It was, I think, quite a testimony to the effectiveness of the organization that we had such a diverse group and such a huge outturn.
Topping the list of critical unresolved issues is the city's foster care system.
Our system of taking care of our children, our foster care system, all those systems that really are there to support people are largely dysfunctional. And the discussions that we're having today and that we'll have in the future are really geared toward trying to fix that problem. And it's very critical that we do it and do it very, very fast.
We're working closely with the courts and the child welfare system and the leadership of the city government to address the issue of foster care reform and to assure that children who are removed from their homes because of imminent danger are in fact placed in appropriate settings, not in a warehousing category and frankly not moving them around, but in a permanent loving setting as promptly as possible. It's not easy. These are systems that don't usually work together. These are agencies that frequently distrust each other. And so by being an honest broker and facilitator, we all have the same interest in mind. We all want these vulnerable children to have a better life.
Another priority is the Council's work to reduce police time in court.
This study shows of all the hours D.C. police spend in the courtroom, only 2% of that time is spent testifying.
We can't afford to compromise public safety.
Samuel Harahan heads up the Council for Court Excellence, a nonprofit group that promotes public understanding of courts. The Washington-based organization co-authored this D.C. police overtime report for the mayor's office.
To keep pace with the growing demands for its unique and vital role, the Council is undertaking a 20th anniversary capital campaign.
A lot of what we do are funded projects. And when that funding runs out, we can't just stop the work. We have to continue to carry through in implementation phases, for example, of a study, because if we don't continue the work, then we've lost all the momentum and the project may simply never get off the ground. But simply because the money from the funding ran out doesn't mean we can stop.
It could be anything from the work we do now, like jury studies, or the studies of court efficiency, or the types of studies that might be created by some emergency. And when the moment arises and if there's a need for immediate action, you don't want to have to stop and say, who's going to pay for this?
One of the areas that we have identified that we should address in coming years is public representation. By that we mean the funding that's available for those who are appointed to represent indigents in our court system. But we also mean the funding that's available for public agencies like the Corporation Counsel's Office to ensure that there is adequate representation for all in the courts in the District of Columbia.
The council can help inform the debate by bringing information, by doing analysis, by making policy recommendations that approach these problems in a systemic manner.
They know not only what will work and what won't work, but they know the kinds of pressures that you can bring to bear, perfectly legitimate ones, that will in fact bring about change.
Some change is painful to individuals and to agencies, and it's going to take someone outside pushing to make sure that it happens.
Judicial system impacts everyone, and we need to watch it. We need to make sure it's working for the citizens.